afternoon, and welcome to the Senior Hour, which is sponsored by Providence Holy Cross Medical Center and Comfort Keepers in Home Care. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co host
Dr. Thomas Polucki.
on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And our guest today is my co host, Dr. Thomas Polucki.
How'd that happen?
Woohoo! Okay, I see lots and lots of paper, lots
Yeah,
and lots of questions, and
yeah,
lots to talk about.
always. So, as we get older, it gets harder and harder for us to get the most out of the food that we eat, right?
Get the most out of anything.
Well, that's a whole nother show, Barb.
Yes, I know it is.
I just want to stick to our problems with, just basic nutrition. Um, there's a lot of factors involved as we get older. First of all, it becomes harder for our bodies to absorb the food. Second of all, the quality of food is not what it used to be. The food that we eat is just not as good as it was uh, even just 20 years ago, much less 40 or 50 or 60 years ago, like many of us in this audience grew up on. So a couple of factors are involved. One is the food quality isn't there. Two is it gets harder for our bodies to process food as we get
As we get
older.
older, yes.
And three, which is probably the biggest factor of them all, is even though we have more time, as most of us are retired, and we have the time and we have the skill. This is a generation that actually knew how to cook instead of just pop a bag in the microwave. Unfortunately, most of us are now at that point where even though we have the time and we have the skill, we still convenience beats all of that out. And you're still looking for the quick and easy 3-minute meal, right? 3 minutes of preparation to make a meal. So when you combine all of those things, the food quality, our bodies less able to process the foods that we eat, and then only eating highly processed, microwavable food, you set up a situation where nutrition is more important than ever as we get older, but it becomes less and less of a priority. So, okay, what are we going to do? Is everybody going to start, growing their own food in their victory garden and cooking from scratch? Not likely. It's just not likely going to happen. So what do you need to do? If you are going to go for convenience, there are obviously some things you can do better than others. I believe that there is a substantial difference in non-GMO organics. And I know I'm going to catch some hate for just having an opinion at all, but much less something as hot a topic as GMOs and organic. Um, it just makes sense. The more we can eat like our grandparents ate, the better we're going to be. Because whether you believe in creation or evolution, it doesn't matter. Our bodies have not adapted to this stuff that we're now being sold as food, because a lot of it barely qualifies for the definition. There's so much stuff in there that disrupts our body's ability to actually use any of that as nutrition. So, where do we go from there? Well, if we're not going to absolutely guarantee the quality of a food by growing it ourselves and cooking it ourselves, which nobody has the time for, right?
Well, the food I eat is cooked at home
Okay, good for you. Well,
because my son and my daughter, they usually fix it for me. And then if they aren't there, I will eat a meal that the senior center brings me, and
uh-huh.
that's always good food.
Okay, great. So that's a great start. Let me ask you this. Why, if you do that, do you still use supplements? Because I know for a fact that you do.
What do you mean by supplements? Salt and pepper and
No, supplements like this stuff, like the vitamins that you buy from me. So that's how I know that you use supplements. Why do you
oh,
do that?
okay. Well, in being a patient or a client of yours, you have recommended that I use these items,
Mhm. Oh,
and that's what I do.
okay. Well, you're a good patient. I appreciate that. But is it really just because I said so, or do you feel there's a need? Do you feel there's a benefit?
Well, I think it goes with everything. I mean, you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I trust what you're talking about
Thank
is
you.
correct. And that's one of the reasons why I use the supplements.
Okay.
Okay.
Have you noticed a difference in any aspect since you've been using the supplements?
Well, I'm almost 88
Mhm.
and I'm living a lovely life, really. I don't drive anymore because my concentration is not what it should be to be in a car and driving on the streets. That's
Okay.
not worth it.
Yeah.
But
No, I appreciate that.
I do go for a walk every day
Mhm.
and make sure I get some exercise. If I don't walk outside, I will walk around the house. And I
Well,
use,
walking is good medicine.
yes, it is.
Okay.
So,
So I'd like to, on our last show, basically spent a good deal of time, if anybody heard it, on what we call the essentials. There's a few things that I believe everybody could benefit from. A couple of supplements, vitamins or minerals and amino acids, that kinds of thing.
yes,
That,
all the supplements I take, I have purchased from you,
well,
from your recommendation.
I appreciate that. Um, and I'd like to go over the essentials really briefly, really quick right now, because, like I said, as we get older, as we live more and more in a convenience driven society lifestyle, it gets harder and harder for us to get the nutrition that we need. And that kind of sets a downward spiral where you need more medication and you're spending a heck of a lot more, even with great insurance, just copays and stuff like that, you're spending a heck of a lot more on medication than you are on food, right? And that is the political debate. Nearly every cycle is who's going to pay for prescription drugs, right? The question, I hate that because that is it's a called a loaded question. You assume that everybody needs prescription drugs. I think everybody needs better nutrition to start with. And then there wouldn't be the debate over who's going to pay for prescription drugs, right? There would be how are we going to get the best quality food to the most amount of people and not need prescription drugs? But good luck getting that one on the campaign ballot.
That will not
Yeah,
happen.
that's gonna open a whole bunch of, problems. Uh, but let's just talk about nutrition for today. So we start off with the basics, and the basics or the essentials are you need a good multivitamin mineral complex. Now, I was sold on this as a child by, of all things, my medical doctor, and that was pretty radical 50 years ago. Yeah, a medical doctor prescribing vitamins, right?
Mhm.
So I got a kind of a sneak peek on it because I had, like old school, even though I lived in a suburb of New York City, I kind of had an old country doctor, a real doctor like Marcus Welby taking care of my family. And my family is all medical anyway, but our personal physician was like those old, like 1950s TV shows where the doctor actually knew their patients and was more than just a 3-minute consultation with writing a prescription for some kind of medication. It was a real relationship with your medical doctor, and one of the things that he got us all involved with very early on was supplemental nutrition. Crazy. You don't necessarily get that today in your doctor's visit, but that used to be standard practice, at least back then, at least with my experience, right? So the multivitamin mineral, there's a lot of ways this could go wrong. Just the cheapest bargain value vitamin um, that you get at a retail store, your body probably can't use most of what's in that pill.
Mhm.
So there's something called the activated form of vitamins. It's available. It's ready to go right into your bloodstream, right into the cells of the body. It's called the activated form of the body of the vitamin and the mineral, and pretty much every supplement is like this. There's a form that is easily used by your body, and then there's the cheap stuff that's in most vitamins at any price range, right? So without someone like me recommending, like you said in the beginning of the show, well, I take them because it's you know what you're doing and that's what you recommended. That is kind of important in these days because otherwise you're just at the mercy of essentially better marketing. Whoever's
Mhm.
got the best sales pitch is going to get, you know, the sale, right? So it is kind of important to know what you're doing with nutrition. And if you don't, you can spend about 20 years in postgraduate work getting up to speed on this stuff, or you can just have a consultation with someone like me. So, in the activated form, our vitamins give you um, the type of the vitamin in the form that your body recognizes. It's the kind that the all the receptors in the cells are designed for. They see it, they recognize it, they put it right to use, and that's called the active form of the vitamin. That's what our vitamin mineral complex is all about. And secondly, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on the essentials again, but I need to cover the bases. Probiotics. If I were to ask you, what does probiotic mean to you, Barb, what would you say?
I don't know.
Okay. So, do you know that there are good, helpful, beneficial bacteria living in your digestive tract?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's a good start. So, inside your body, it's called the microbiome, and they are billions and billions and billions of these bacteria that help us with our digestion, help us absorb foods, even create certain vitamins and minerals for us. They are an important part of our immune system. They are an important part of the way we think and feel because 80% of the chemistry that we used to call brain chemistry, the moods, the neurotransmitters, the things that run our nervous system, 80% of them are actually in our digestive tract. Only 20% are in our brain. That's kind of a switch. So here's the thing.
Interesting.
Those bacteria are such a critical part of our health. Unfortunately, convenience foods and the way that our water is processed um, and the contamination of our food and water essentially beat these guys up, the good bacteria, on a daily basis. And then we compound that by eating more and more processed foods instead of more and more raw vegetables, which is what they prefer. They prefer the good bacteria in our gut are designed to be like mostly vegetarian. They love the breaking down the fiber, and because you can't digest fiber, right? But these guys love it. They
Okay.
love vegetables, and that's what they thrive on.
Okay, but you just mentioned raw vegetables.
Yeah,
I don't like to eat raw
because
vegetables
it's hard
unless I
on your
have
digestive tract.
unless I have a salad.
I
I'd
understand.
much rather eat
Yeah.
cooked vegetables,
Okay,
which I
because it's
do.
easier. Yeah.
Yes.
So there's something to that, and that's good and important. But we can help you enjoy raw vegetables more with a good enzyme formula. It'll be easier for you to digest if you've got the right amount of enzymes going on. I understand as you may just not have the preference for raw vegetables. Can I ask, did you never like raw vegetables, or is it just as you're getting older?
No, I've never really liked raw vegetables unless they were in a salad.
Okay. Salads are
And
great.
oh yeah, well, I love a salad with chopped up broccoli
Awesome.
and celery
Yep.
and onions and
Yep.
tomatoes
Yep.
and all of those kinds of
You say
vegetables.
tomato.
Tomato.
I
Well,
say tomato. Let's call the whole thing off. So, yeah, that is exactly what I'm saying. So, forget I said the word vegetable. Let's just say salad. Okay.
salad. All right.
So, salad. These bugs in your gut, these good guys, they love salad. They could live on salad all day long, but not so many people eat a whole bunch of salad every day. You may have a salad with dinner or something like that.
Mhm.
The reality is 80% of your diet should be salad. How many of us are really doing that?
Well, that's very true.
Yeah,
Not many of us, I'm sure.
not many. So, in order to help these guys out, you can take reinforcements, and
Mhm.
that's what probiotics are. Probiotics are those actual bugs that live in our digestive tract and help us with digestion and our immune system and the way we feel and knock down inflammation, all of that stuff. You can actually eat those bugs that help us, and that is what a probiotic is. And not all probiotics are created equally. Our formulation is the original doctor recommended probiotic form. It's got 14 of the most researched probiotic strains that are known to be beneficial and helpful to our bodies in the highest count anywhere. A quarter teaspoon of this formula, which is a gram, delivers 100 billion bugs in one shot.
Okay, what is that? I think I
Probiotics.
didn't I just buy that
I
from
think
you?
so. I think you did on the
That
list show.
and was it
And the
this one?
Activate. Yeah, we covered the essentials on the last show. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to do a recap, but I'm already over time on it. So, yeah, the probiotics are important. This is why we call it the essentials. We need the vitamins because we just don't get it from our food anymore. We need the probiotics because pretty much everything in our lifestyle just knocks the heck out of these guys on a daily basis. And without them, everything in your body has to work so much harder because we really do depend on that microbiome to take care of us. And
Mhm.
if it's compromised, if it's beat up by our lifestyle, the best way to handle that is to actually just eat the bugs and get them back into your digestive tract. And like I said, they're not all created equal. So this is a great formula for that. Next, the biotics and what's next on the list? Okay. So, uh, and oh, by the way, a new report just came out that medications, compounds, all these issues that I'm talking about. So, most seniors are on at least one prescription medication for the rest of their lives, and as many as 20% are on 5 simultaneous prescriptions. And once you get into 5 prescription medications, you know all this stuff is even being compromised more. So it makes it even more important to do the right thing with the supplements. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And next on the list is we call it the Daily Detox. It's 50 superfood concentrates. So if I were to ask you what's a superfood, Barb, what would you say?
A superfood?
Superfood.
I don't know.
Okay.
A superfood.
So let's just say you mentioned broccoli, right?
Okay,
You
yes.
like broccoli in your salad.
Yes, I love
Broccoli
broccoli.
is considered a superfood
And what
because
what about radishes?
Radishes are good. I don't know if they make that cut or not, but radishes are real good too. Superfoods are things that are almost medicinal in value. Like broccoli has sulforaphane. Let's just say it's got good stuff in it, right? So broccoli is so good for you that there are research studies on it, on how it kicks cancer's butt. I mean, like it's really, really good. Now that's just one superfood, but imagine things like that. Blueberries is
Oh, I
another
love blueberry.
superfood, right?
Oh, I love blueberries.
But not all of us are eating broccoli and blueberries
Oh,
and 50 other superfoods every single day.
no.
But one scoop of this formula is like eating salad for a year in one scoop. I mean, there's so much concentrated, good nutrition in one scoop of this thing, and it tastes good. You just put it in a glass of water, stir it up, and you're getting an incredible nutritional boost on your day.
Yes, I know. And I think I have run out of that.
Okay, so you can get this one.
Yes.
All right. And when we come back from the break, I really want to get past the basic essentials today and get into the niches that a lot of people have a lot of issues with. When we get back from the break, you're listening to the Senior Show, KHTS FM 98.1 AM 1220, hometownstation.com.
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co host, Dr. Thomas Polucki, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. And our guest today is my co host, Dr. Thomas Polucki, and we're talking about nutrition.
Yeah, supplements to be specific, but I'm slipping in some, food issues that we all face as we try to make it through our days and live as easy as possible. Unfortunately, nutrition is one of the first things to take a hit on that, and more importantly, how improper nutrition, not enough of the good stuff, really affects our health in ways that none of us are that willing to acknowledge. Because it's so much easier just to take a pill than to do the right thing. So if if that's the truth, I've given up trying to change the world. I got in a lot of trouble for having opinions about that. Uh, w- I'm going to offer better pills instead of poisoning yourself with the cure, so to speak. I'm going to make better nutrition in a pill, right?
Hmm.
Easy. If you're
Yes.
going to take a pill anyway, why not take a pill that's actually good for you?
That's good for you.
Right.
Exactly.
So,
Yes.
that being said, anti-inflammatories is a big issue for everybody our age. Something always hurts, right? And the answer is if it hurts, it's because there's inflammation. If there's
Yes.
inflammation, you take an anti-inflammatory. Unfortunately, even aspirin, sends a lot of people to the hospital. And
I don't
some of
take
them,
aspirin.
yeah, some of them don't make it out. Ibuprofen, Tylenol, naproxen, all of them have some pretty serious side effects. Now, I'm not bashing them, but I'm saying that there is an option that doesn't burn a hole in your gut or hurt your liver or kidneys. In fact, there are natural anti-inflammatories that are actually good for you. The problem with trying to do that with food is we all know about turmeric, right? You know what
Yes.
turmeric
Oh,
is, the thing
yes.
that
I
turns your
have.
kitchen yellow, right? So if you try to use turmeric as medicine. First of all, you are going to have a yellow kitchen. I know because I used to do it that way. And you have to do a lot of it, a lot of it. So instead of doing all that work, which you need almost a degree in biochemistry in order to figure out how to do it right. And then, all the work involved in that. Why not just go right to the active ingredient, which is curcuminoid? This formula has a really good high concentration of standardized, which is the biochemistry part of it I just mentioned. They distilled the medicine out of the turmeric into, an ultra concentrated form. plus a bunch of other stuff that all works together in a very potent anti-inflammatory that has gone head to head in studies with prescription strength anti-inflammatories and does at least as well, but there's no black box warning on this. You know what a black box warning is?
No.
Okay. So you know that slip of paper that comes in a prescription? It should, and it typically doesn't anymore, but it used to. In the prescription bag, there's the bottle of pills, and then there's a little pamphlet,
Yes.
right? So on the pamphlet, there's something called a black box, and that black box is how dangerous this stuff is and what to do in case you have a very serious reaction to the medication, right? So all anti-inflammatories have a black box warning about heart attack and stroke, right? I don't think that's news to you, right?
Well, that's correct. I
Yeah.
know that.
So this doesn't. If you were to eat this whole bottle, you may spend a little bit of time in the bathroom, but you're certainly not going to have to go to the ER.
Yeah, I had
You eat
that.
a bottle this size of anything, of aspirin, you're going to the hospital.
Oh, yes.
Tylenol, you're going to the morgue.
Yes.
So this is anti-inflammatory at prescription strength level, but it's actually good for you. So that's kind of cool. That's a big one. And then here's something you know about. Um, you started off the show with something I'm a little concerned about. You said that one of the reasons you don't drive is because you're having an issue with mental focus,
Concentration.
concentration.
Yes.
I thought we had a pretty good handle on that. So I think maybe you should come into the office one of these times instead of having me treat you here at the radio station, because I think we need to talk about that. A while ago, we had you start our nerve support, which is also it used to be called memory support, but we saw that it not just helped people with their memory and their focus and their concentration, but it was doing incredibly good with people's neuropathies, the pain in their hands and their foot
Mhm.
and the numbness
Mhm.
and the tingling. We're also improving because a nerve, it doesn't matter where the nerve is, whether it's in your head or in your hands or in your feet, it needs the same kind of nutritional support. This product is great at that. So when you tell me that you're having some issues with, the memory and things, we got to check out and see
Okay,
how
what
you're
is
doing
that?
with this.
I take that,
Yeah, I know. That's
Yeah.
why I'm saying it. You shouldn't be having that problem with this. I thought we had it
Y-
handled, but we need a checkup on that.
Well, I think doesn't something have to do with my age?
Yes and no. That is the easy answer that most people will tell you, well, you're just getting older. What do you expect? But we know that lifestyle, nutrition, supplementation, exercise, and certain self care practices can help a lot of people. Okay, so the idea out there, the idea that most people have is that age is pretty much a downhill slide, right? You would call that like a triangle of age. You're going downhill after a certain age, right?
Well, yes, I think
So,
that's
okay.
very true.
Yeah, that's what they want you to believe. But there are so many people out there who are having a rectangle of life where they live, and then they're dead. Instead of they live and they're dying, 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 dying. So my objective is to live at a very high level until your body just completely gives up and you're gone like almost instantly. That would be my idea. I don't know that it's what everybody wants, but I would rather be living a high quality of life right up until my last day.
Well, okay. Uh, I've had I've had to grapple with some major health problems.
Mhm.
I've beaten cancer twice,
That's awesome.
when I was 75 and when I was 85. And then I had a something where I don't know what it was, but I was talking in funny circles
Yeah.
and the doctors put me in the hospital because something was going on. Now,
Mhm.
whether it was a TIA I had or whatever it was, but I think both all three of those sessions have caused my body to slow down
Mhm.
and not be as active.
Mhm.
And because of the things that have happened to me, I have chosen not to drive
Mhm.
because I don't want to get into an
No, I
accident.
totally appreciate that. What I'm saying
Please.
is, I'd like you not to feel like, "Oh, I have a problem with my focus. I have a problem with my concentration." And, there may be an episode, but I don't want that to be a prolonged, the rest of your life, right? So once you get over the emergency, we want to get you back to the highest level of function as possible so you can live your life, the rest of your life, however long it is, because nobody knows how long we have. We want that
Good.
that quality of life to be as high as possible and not just accept, oh, well, I'm getting older, so it's just going to keep getting worse.
Well, I don't use a walker anymore.
That's awesome.
I use walking sticks,
Right.
which I feel much more comfortable with.
Right.
Unless I'm in the house, I still keep the walker going if I've got to go to the bathroom real quick.
Mhm.
And I, with all the furniture and things, the sticks, I'm afraid I would fall because they would get stuck on something.
Right.
And so I don't use those in the house. I use the walker.
So you brought
And
something up. How are you sleeping?
well, I'm sleeping quite well,
Okay. Because
actually.
are you taking this?
Yes.
Okay. So I'd like to talk about this. This is our sleep formula, an all natural synergistic sleep nutrition for calmer nerves. It helps with your nerves. It relaxes your muscles so that you don't have restless legs or cramping at night for restful sleep without the druggy hangover that some sleep medications are known for.
Right.
Yep. So, so this works for you, yeah?
Yeah, it does.
Okay,
But
great.
I still wake up in the middle of the night when I've got to go to the restroom.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. And then sometimes I'm I'm wide awake and
Mm,
I'll end up reading my book
mhm.
for about 20 minutes until I get sleepy again and I'll turn the light off, put the book down and go back to sleep.
Well, that's good
Now
that you're able to get back to sleep.
that happens on occasion,
Gotcha. Okay.
but I think that happens to everybody.
So, we talked earlier about um, you don't necessarily like vegetables, and I appreciate that. So we shifted gears to salad. One of the things about prepared foods, and you made the point that you like to cook your vegetables, and a lot
Yeah,
of
I
people
like
do.
Brussels sprouts
That's
and
fine. That's
those
fine.
those kinds of
The fact that we
squash.
cook, and I'm not making an issue. I'm not even suggesting that you eat raw meat or raw eggs or anything like that. That could get me in trouble with the health department. What I'm suggesting is that because we cook so much of our food, we break down one of the things that's built into every food, every raw food. There are enzymes in that food when it's in its raw state that help us digest it properly. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't cook, but I'm saying because we do cook, all of those enzymes are broken down and they're not helping us digest our food. So it becomes more and more difficult for our bodies to absorb nutrition from cooked food than it would be if they were raw. So, again, I am not saying don't cook your food. It's a health issue. A lot of foods need to be cooked. What I am saying is that if you want less digestive problems and more ease of digestion, less indigestion, less gas, less bloating, easier transit, which means you're a good pooper, and you don't have all of the things that, that commercials like they do the little dance where they've got, doing,
Yeah, well,
yeah, where you don't.
I don't have what you were just talking
Good.
about.
So for the people that do, the answer would be that whenever you eat something that is processed, is cooked, you take one of these. It's an advanced enzyme formula. It's plant-based and it's highly effective to break down the proteins, to break down the carbohydrates, to break down the fats, and break down the even parts of the cellulose so that the vegetables that you do eat are you can actually get to the nutrition inside of them because we don't have an enzyme in our body that will break down cellulose, which is the coating on all vegetables. And to get to the nutrition, you kind of need a good amount of enzymes in your digestive tract. And as I said, because we cook everything, most of us typically don't have enough enzymes to digest our food properly. And we'll get back trying to get to at least a few more of these nutritional breakthroughs in just a moment. You're listening to the Senior Hour KHTS FM 98.1 AM 1220 hometownstation.com.
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co host, Dr. Thomas Polucki, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. And we're speaking with my co host, who is the guest today, Dr. Thomas Polucki, and we're speaking about nutrition.
Yeah, so we got
Yes.
we ran out of time, but
Yes.
we're going to try to cover two important topics that we talked about over the break because you're having some issues that I wasn't aware of because now I kind of just treat you when I can here at the station
Mm-hmm.
instead of you coming in for a regular visit where we can actually talk about some of the concerns you're having. One of the things I'd like to talk about is our liver function and how that is again challenged by lifestyle, especially as we get older. A lot of people could do a world of good by giving their liver some love. And this formulation is some of the top researched aminos, botanicals for liver support and detoxification. That means cleaner blood, better digestion and metabolism. And it really means easier weight and stress management as we get older because the less we move and the more sedentary we get because we're not moving around so much, the harder those things become. And if you give your liver some help, you're going to have a much easier time with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
And the last thing, you've mentioned a couple times that you've beaten cancer twice. Hopefully, I had something to do with that, but I'd like to take it and even a step further because one of the main culprits in nearly every type of cancer out there is a form of estrogen. Now, I don't want to bash estrogen because most estrogen, like 90% of estrogen, even more than that, is very good for women and believe it or not, for men too. Estrogen does certain things in women, but it does things, really good things for both men and women. The problem is there's this one tiny subtype of estrogen that causes all the problems that has been linked to cancer, heart attack, stroke, all of the bad stuff that we associate estrogen with is
Mm-hmm.
because of this one last subtype of estrogen that causes all the problems across the board. So, there is a natural chemical in certain plants and vegetables that blocks the production of that, regardless of whether that bad estrogen is coming from outside, like plastics in our water or certain chemicals in our foods that can do that too, or just internal processes in our body that push that last form of estrogen, its levels to become more concentrated enough to start causing problems like cancer, heart attack, and stroke. So there is stuff. It's called an indole. I know that doesn't mean anything, and everybody will forget it after 5 seconds. So there's this chemical inside of things like broccoli, your favorite. Remember, I said broccoli is a superfood?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the chemicals in broccoli is an indole, which means it stops the production of this last kind of estrogen that is known to cause cancer. So that's why broccoli is a superfood, but you'd have to eat like a room full of broccoli in order to get enough of the active ingredient to make any kind of difference. So this product is concentrated indole 3, which means it really, really suppresses the formation of that last kind of estrogen, which essentially reduces your risk of cancer, heart attack, and stroke significantly. So we highly recommend that whether you're a man or a woman, regardless of whether you're taking bioidentical hormones or not, but certainly if you are, you absolutely need this estrogen balancing formulation, and we call it Estrabel.
Estrabel.
So
Oh,
that
interesting.
is about half of our product line.
Yes, I know.
We're going to try to get to some other stuff next time around, but thank you so much, Barb, for your input and your patronage. And I know this stuff is helping you, right?
Oh, yes.
So,
I'm still alive,
yeah, there you
and a
go.
lot
That's a
of
good
women
start.
my age aren't alive.
There you go. Well, I'd like to say that I'm happy if I had anything to do with that.
Well, you did, of course.
And this is a good chunk of why. So you can contact the office. I recommend an in-office consultation where we'll do a side-by-side comparison of the supplements that you're currently taking. It's a pretty good deal. And you can call the office at 753-9340. We are here in Santa Clarita, so that's 661-753-9340. You've been listening to the Senior Hour on KHTS FM 98.1 AM 1220, hometownstation.com, brought to you by Comfort Keepers and Providence Holy Cross. Now go out and enhance your quality of life.